Tributes still being posted to a radio trailblazer. Hi, I am Debbie. Francois Juste died at hospital Monday after a short illness. Juste, with an ear for radio and an eye for talent. Skills he brought to charting the long-running dominance of Fame FM.
We have to look at the bigger picture, and we have to look at the market that we're catering to.
Good morning!
Just one of the social media spoofs of Francois Just's signature intro to his morning show. Just, the brain behind Fame, and also one of the voices most identified with the radio brand, the station and airwaves frontrunner in its heyday, a template copied by others as competition kicked in. Just taking Fame to the top and picking the talent powering its rise. Simone Clark Cooper, now a well-known TV host, one of his finds.
Yes, we remember those early days. If I'm to let out secrets, that's 23 years ago.
I met Francois in 1997 when I was one of 300 people to audition for new Fame positions.
What struck you about him?
His mild manner and his demeanor was shocking, because you hear him on the radio, he's a loudmouth, right? And chat whole heap and talk no foolishness. But when I met him, he was so calm and so serious that it was kind of shocking to meet the man behind the big personality on radio.
And he gave you the gig?
He did. He gave me the gig.
And what did that mean to you?
It changed my entire life, because
Why?
I had just come off an audition 3 months before where the executive producer of a station had told me to go and find another career path because radio wasn't it. And so that for me was redemption, but also an indication that I could do this.
Was there something transformative about Francois and what he did in radio at RJR?
Absolutely. Francois was an innovator at his core. He just wanted to know that people thought it couldn't be done, and it was your mission to do it. There was never an opportunity for you to go to him and say, we can't do this or we can't do that, because if it wasn't grand enough, he didn't want to do it, because he just wanted to change the landscape. That was who he was, and he did.
In a sense, did he change the face of radio?
Absolutely, because Fame was not just a radio station, Fame was a lifestyle. When people started to plug in, they started to schedule their lives around road parties, around island parties, around property parties. It became a movement. It was
I
more than
remember the
just
Fame
radio.
calendar.
If I remember
Lines.
them, I used to have to plan them, sir. I remember them very well. Going around asking people for snake and lizard and props that were just had no purpose or business being on a calendar, but lines for hours, lines for days, lines for months. We had to print and reprint, send them across the island, send them across the world.
So, he was a voice on Fame, but he was also a manager.
He was.
How did he combine those roles? Was it always successful?
I tell people that Francois would have been the only boss I would have worked for where the work didn't feel like work. And I think that's why the team was so good at what we did, because as a manager, he understood the importance of not only leadership, but leadership with empathy. And he identified with us, and you never felt like he was up there. He was always beside you, egging you on, sometimes giving you a hard time if he saw more in you, but he was transformative in that way as a leader as well.
But at some point, Francois wasn't there anymore. Did he ever recover from not being there anymore?
That's a really tough question, because he loved what he did, but he lived what he did. And so I think it was very hard for him when he had to not be there anymore. But he was also able to roll with whatever came his way. And so he made the transformation from where he was, went on to Morning Man on 94. And I think he perhaps would have wanted to do more where he was at the time. But it was what it was. And he went and gave his best to RJR, and people loved him still, loved him more even.
But it hit him hard.
I think it would have.
Fame was his baby.
He loved it. He was there for so many years, from 1984. It was his baby. I think in a way it was kind of like his life. You know, he transformed it. He watched it grow. It became something larger than life, and so So I think it would have been difficult for him when he had to go. But he accepted it, talked about it, he accepted it, and he moved on to what was next and made a great name for himself on 94.
What's the best way to remember Francois Saint-Just?
Just as being a game-changing, fearless, inspiring force that made radio exciting and different in Jamaica, and whose legacy will never be forgotten for the many lives he touched.